Good morning, guys. Big day today. We're going to be driving across New Mexico and Arizona to see 4 national forests and 2 national parks. It's possible to drive directly to the Grand Canyon on big highways, but I want to see these forests and get ideas for future adventures. Also, this will be my first time in Arizona. I'd rather see it from back roads than a big highway. But first we need to stop and get some groceries, as tonight I want to cook a big spaghetti and steak meal at our campground in the Grand Canyon. Also need to grab a little bit of fruit to make my breakfast. We're gonna grab Stephanie some breakfast. I'm gonna make myself a little breakfast here in the car. This past week I've driven a couple thousand miles, done some cool hiking in the mountains and deserts, and I want to make sure I give my body the nutrients it needs to keep going strong. Did you find something? Nice. It's hard to beat fresh fruit. This is what Stephanie's working with. I approve. Thank you. Coffee's still really hot. Well guys, we're leaving Las Cruces headed west, and we're about to encounter a series of national forests on our way to the Grand Canyon. But on the way out, I want to point out the Oregon Mountains on the horizon. Beautiful range, done a lot of great hiking and climbing in there. There's a whole network of mountain ranges in this area, and we'll be back to explore them in the wintertime. One of my favorite things to do is study maps of mountain ranges and plan different hikes and backpacking routes and climbs that I can do. Recently I've been drawing out a roughly 25-26 mile route that crosses an exposed ridgeline for about 12 miles, really high up in the mountains, and I'm probably most excited for this route. It's down the Franklin Mountains in El Paso. We're definitely going to give that a shot in the wintertime. Cool thing about national forest land like this, there aren't many regulations. Car camp, hike, for the most part where you want to. National forest lands tend to be less crowded than national parks as well. Alright guys, time to do a quick little workout here in the Gila National Forest. Deadlifts are an essential exercise in the sense that they strengthen the glutes and the hamstrings, which are the primary muscles powering me up a mountain. The banded squats and lateral walks are an assistance exercise. They primarily improve the endurance of stabilizer muscles in the glutes. Durable stabilizer muscles will make me more efficient, allow me to do harder stuff, but maybe more importantly, it'll reduce the risk of injury. These one-arm twisting rows challenge me to keep my trunk stable, but they also strengthen the upper portions of my posterior chain, and it's no coincidence that 2 of these 3 exercises target the posterior chain. If higher levels of physical performance are your goal, I think you must train your backside extensively. As some great coaches have joked, the front side is for show, but the backside is for go. Guys, this is exactly why I wanted to drive through here. It's giving me tons of ideas, taking notes on my map, writing down GPS coordinates. I mean, these mountains are stunning, and I definitely want to come back and explore them at some point. It's pretty often the case that one adventure will lead to another. You'll get some GPS coordinates, you'll go back, you'll look at the maps, and you'll see a ridgeline connecting a bunch of awesome peaks, or maybe a seldomly climbed or unclimbed peak that you might want to take a crack at. And for me, that's a big part of the appeal of Southwest Texas, New Mexico. There's just a whole bunch of mountains out here that people either don't climb, or if they do climb, they don't talk about it or write about it, and so you kind of feel like you're the first person up there. I guess it's a bit ironic, but I feel like I'm getting a more true pioneering mountaineering experience out here on what are relatively small mountains. Sleepy. Better.
You were twitching a little bit.
But for me, I guess it's less the objective size or external validation I get for climbing a mountain, and more the sense of great isolation, unknown, and challenge that I get 5,000 feet up on some mountain in the desert that doesn't even have a name. Here's another way to think about it. I mean, if you pay enough money, you get a good guide group, you get good guides, you can pretty much climb any mountain in the world at this point with relatively little experience or training. Highly successful businessmen paying tens of thousands of dollars for a Sherpa to carry all of their oxygen, supplies, and hold their hand to the summit of Mount Everest is a good example of what I'm talking about. I have nothing against those people, and I'm sure we might have to agree to disagree, but I don't consider that true mountaineering. I want to spend hours studying maps trying to find the mountain's weakness. I want to stand at the bottom, look up, and wonder if I've chosen the right route. That's the game I would like the opportunity to play. Detailed trip reports and guides break the game. Might not guess it looking out the window, but just crossed into Arizona. First 5 minutes in Arizona and I've already encountered a new animal. Stephanie says they're elk. I called them moose. I'm not even sure what the difference is, but they're really cool, whatever they are. I'm also realizing that Arizona is not just one big desert. There seem to be some really nice forests and mountains over here on the eastern side of the state. Sleepy today for some reason. I'm gonna take a quick nap. We made it to our first national park of the day.
Rocks of petrified wood. Information center, mile and a half. Thank you.
From what I gather, they took a bunch of wood that became rock, more or less, and you just kind of walk around and look at it. I think I see another piece of rockwood. There's also a fairly good bird watching area over here next to the scenic walk. I thought the drive to get here was spectacular. Glad stopped in and got to see some of the rockwood. just entered a third national forest. I'm not sure if those distant mountains are actually a part of Coconino National Forest. Definitely piqued my interest. They look huge. Arizona's been a surprise. I would have guessed it was just all desert. Definitely not the case. Just left Coconino National Forest. Only about an hour left till we get to our campground in the Grand Canyon. Ready for some steak. We made it. Looking for campsite number 24. Let's make some food.
I feel it sticking to the bottom. That's usually how it goes when I cook pasta. That's good.
That sizzle is not loud enough. The pan should be hotter for a steak. How is it?
It's really good.
That's good.
It's a lot better than I thought it would be. It's pretty juicy.
Yeah.
Seasoned well.
It's not getting as hot as I would like, but we're making it work. It's actually freaking good. Surprisingly. Nice medium rare, roughly. Very tender, very juicy. Good ribeye. It's definitely steak. I just tasted. Honestly, it wasn't quite as good as mine. I messed hers up a little bit. I would give hers like a 6.5 or 7. Mine though was like an 8. Maybe part of it was this Weber steak seasoning. Really solid. Spaghetti was pretty good. 6.5, 7. Overall success as far as I'm concerned. ahead and unload the car and put all the gear in the tent. That way we can sleep in the car. Good night.